All right, we're back with another little segment of Wet Your Palate, where we talk about what we just did on Go With Your Palate. So we had a couple special guests today. We had brothers Alex and Ben Jensen. They are youngsters in Texas. When I say youngsters, mid-20s, late 20s. And they're just crushing it in the real estate game. So
I'd say highlights were having a good time, laughing a lot, but just showing our story from door to door to real estate, and then the crazy things that we run into, and getting to role play a little sales conversation with you.
Yeah, just talking about how we get rental properties, kind of a little bit different than most people, and all the crazy stories that we have, knocking doors, cold calling people that we don't usually show, but we like to show because it's funny, and it kind of gives people a point of view of what we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, and I think you guys really showed an inspiring hustle. You've created great community, really using social podcasting, just getting your message out there, and mentoring and coaching other people to do what you do.
what you guys are doing, especially with the mentor thing and getting people the knowledge, it's admirable, and thank you guys for being on.
How did you, because I'm like wondering if there was ever anything that you were, a different path that maybe you were going to take before you got to where you're at. Like, were you ever going to go into wine sales before this? Or maybe not even sales. Maybe like you were going to rock star it out, play guitar or baseball, something like that?
I'd say growing up, we probably both wanted to be professional baseball players, which we played pretty high-level baseball, but at least for me, I kind of got stuck in the go to college and just get a normal job thing. But on this, like in the back of my head, I know like starting your own business, doing something like that was probably better. But I guess your question about ever wanting to sell wine, I have a funny one for that. And I think it was like kindergarten or first grade. They asked us what you want to be when you grow up, and I said I want to sell wine. And they did not like that at all, especially in Texas. It was like all the anti-drug and alcohol, all that stuff. And I remember my dad went into the principal's office or the teacher's office and something like that, and just ripped into him because they said it was like, oh, you're promoting selling alcohol or drugs or something like that. Like, you can't write that. And my dad did not like that, and he laid it down on him for sure.
That doesn't sound like your dad at all. He would, he doesn't wait or mince words. He's just like, you know what? I got something on my mind. Boom, here it is.
Yeah.
Walk into that principal's office.
I pretty vividly remember that from early age. That was funny.
And wasn't there something with some corks?
Yeah, we had a project where we had to make something and bring it to class, and I think I made it, or my dad made it, but it was supposed to be us making it. It was he made a birdhouse out of corks, and then I think for my brother's project, it was a soccer field out of corks, which probably escalated the whole wanting to sell wine situation at our elementary school.
Yeah, I was, on that note, like, apparently schools have a problem with alcohol and brands and stuff. So, like, I was giving away, like, branded clothing to, like, all the kids' friends.
Yeah.
Because so they'd be showing up to school with, like, whatever brand, like, whatever wine brand on it.
Yeah.
And so the principal was like, you can't, like, the kids can't be wearing this stuff to school. I'm like, don't I donate to the school? Like, come on, this is, like, fucking... It's wine country. It's like just...
True. We're farmers.
If it said Coca-Cola, would that be a problem?
You're not wearing like a Coors Light shirt. Most people probably didn't even, like high schoolers probably don't even know what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
True. I just think, I'm just imagining... Go ahead.
I wore copper cane shirts all the time in high school. Still do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think people would know.
Dude, they were repping ever since birth.
They're repping.
Dude, they were like, you know what I mean?
I know, yeah. Do you
like,
guys...
their show and tells were lit. Like, you got all these kids being like, whoa, dude, what's this? They're like, this is a birdhouse made out of wine corks. What I want to be when I grow up, global leader in selling wine. That's what I'm talking about.
So I got to ask you guys get to use the wine for any of the closings or gift baskets at your VRBOs, your rental properties, like anything like that?
Yeah.
Are you out selling the copper cane wines? Is what I'm asking.
Yeah. We're always selling. We're trying to get new shoes, is what my dad says. Like, get the more we sell. So I actually, that my first property after I did the alarm sales, I got the Airbnb in our college town in Norman, Oklahoma, where OU is, and I put a bottle of Bowen on for every guest on the kitchen counter.
Whoa. Nice for every guest. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's single serve. That's single serve $7.50.
Yeah, I use
They
them
they gotta finish it by the time they're gone, or
I use them as
Good
wedding
rating.
gifts. So I buy the 6-pack, or my dad does, and I have them engraved, and then I send them to all my friends that have been married, and then try to sell their parents on buying Belgloss or Bowen, whatever it is.
if you actually want to know a funny story about Belgloss or selling the wine, when I started dating my girlfriend in college, probably almost 4 years ago. I was like, she's like, yeah. I said my dad sells wine. She's like, oh, nice. Like my mom loves wine. She always gives it as a gift to her friends. I was like, oh, what does she give? She's like, I don't know. It's like that one with the red wax. She's like obsessed with it. And I was like, no way. My dad sells that. And she's like, what? And so then they just like we're giving them a bottle every time we're over there, and she just only drinks Belgloss.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, thank you. Thanks for all the support.
Yeah.
I like how you worked it in there. You're like, are you closing deals though for me?
Yeah.
Well, we
I
used
would
to go-
expect nothing. I would expect nothing less.
They got their own gig going selling real estate. You're like, but you got to sell something for me to make sure everything's all good with your pop.
We used to go to the liquor stores with our dad and like look at all the inventory and help him out there too. When he was
No
younger.
way.
Yeah, we'd go to like goody goody.
He's
liquor
having you
and
like
put a
go
line with
spot
him.
check all throughout Dallas.
Yeah, no, we would. That was our job for like on Saturdays. We'd go with them, check everything out.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Here, where's my display at?
I gotta have my kids start doing that. Like, as they're like going to college or wherever else. I'm like, all right, Mia, what does San Diego look like? Come on, give me something to give this distributor shit about.
That was kind of like, what we grew up in. Napa Valley is that. It was like farmers first. Just happened to be farming grapes. So I feel like when you're in the business as a kid, you're in the vineyards. You're doing some of these things that.
Yeah.
It's to me, it's like part of like family and like the culture. It's not, you shouldn't be like, oh my gosh, it's like alcohol. Well, the kids aren't drinking alcohol.
Yeah.
We're not, like,
It's just
promoting
part of
drink.
life. It's what makes this place beautiful.
But they can sure dig a irrigation ditch. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
All right, so Chris did touch on kind of like the beginnings of this. I don't even know if you'd call it a niche, but like where you guys discovered this angle of getting into real estate. Was this something that you read about, you saw online? Did you have a mentor? Where did it stem from to what it's evolved to today?
I mean, for me, it started with the Rich Dad Poor Dad, and then I was like, oh crap! Like I learned more from this book than I did all throughout college, and so I dropped the internship. I started looking at different real estate investing stuff, and a guy that was a big real estate investor that I followed actually on social media was posting about doing a commission job. He's like, come make $20,000 in a summer. I thought it was a scam, but I was like, let me reach out to him and see if it's legit. I'd love to like just get around this guy because he's investing in real estate. And he called me, recruited me, went out to go sell door to door, and ended up making $100,000 that summer. So I ended up buying my first property, and then after that I was trying to do more, and I ended up joining a few like communities and mentorship. So I paid, I think, like after I was selling solar, did really well selling solar, and then I paid 10 grand to join a community and a mentorship to learn how to buy properties creatively, like what we were just saying. And then I realized people were knocking on foreclosures, and I'm like, wait, I'm already knocking all these doors. So I pulled up a foreclosure list, started knocking foreclosures, didn't really know what I was doing, and pretty crazy small world. The first door I knocked on in foreclosure, I was selling solar. I just was basically finding the foreclosure leads that were in the area. And the first door I knocked on had a note on the door from another investor. And I was like, oh, shoot, like there's other people that obviously go to these. I don't have a note. I don't even know what I'm saying. And so I took a picture of his note because it had his phone number on it. It said like, hey, give me a call. And so I took a picture of it and called him. And it was the craziest small world. Basically, the guy I thought I was going to be the homeowner. I'm like, oh, no, I'm just another investor. I live in this area. And I was trying to see if he was legit. Like, I was like, I want to see if this guy's actually doing deals. Like, is he someone that could maybe mentor me? And then he's 40, 45 years old, lived in our hometown in Flower Mound. His kids went to high school with me, or his stepkids. He sold for Vivint, the same company I sold for when I was doing security cameras when he was my age. And he just went full-time in real estate. He was closing a bunch of deals. He's like, yeah, I knocked foreclosures because I already knew how to knock. And I was like, dude, this is all I've ever done. I've never had a real job. So I was like, can I come shadow you? And so I shadowed him like a month later, and he pretty much showed us how to actually do it a little better with some systems. And then that's when I brought Alex into it, and we joined another community here in Texas that he was in. So that was kind of like we paid for a lot of education and resources, and I stumbled across him as I was knocking pre-foreclosures.
That's awesome.
Dude.
That's like kind of a, destiny, fate, happenstance, whatever.
Well, what comes up a lot on this podcast is just being someone of action. Like I like how your story kind of starts off with, I thought it was a scam, but I was going to find out.
Yeah.
Like, I won't give him my social security number or I'm not going to get too in deep. I'm going to go in cautiously, but I'm going to go in. Like, I want to see what this is all about. And then it leads to this like serendipitous.
Well, 90%
situation.
of life is just showing up is always such a true quote. And so a lot of people overthinking and not jumping in. And there's always risk in jumping in too early. But you're not going to find out if it's right or wrong if you don't jump in at some point. And that's, oftentimes opportunities surpass you when you don't do it. So
Yeah.
that's always something I've seen with, the people that make it versus the people that don't, is they've got a great idea, a plan, whatever else, but they never actually take that first step. And it's really the first step. And that is showing up, and that is knocking, right? I mean, you're not going to put meat on the table unless you're knocking, if that's your gig.
Yeah.
The one thing that we haven't talked about yet, which I was just a little curious about, was, and you guys also have a podcast.
Yeah, just fun. I thought it would be fun. I always wanted to do a podcast when we were about a year into what we were doing, and I realized you can connect with a lot of people in the industry, figure out about them. There's a lot of people I wanted to dive deeper in with and learn from, so it was a good way to bring on guests, hear what we're doing, hear what they're doing, and then now it's just kind of stemmed with all of our content. We try and bring on all the stories that we have, or bring on another person we've done a deal with or someone we've helped, so it just kind of grows our whole brand. But yeah, we try to do one once a week or two, but we need to be more consistent on that. We've been heavy on the YouTube and the Instagram and all that, but we usually put the YouTube videos on the podcast, or we bring on a guest with people that we're doing deals with, or someone that's in our industry.
That's cool. Do you have any podcasters that you looked up to, or, before you got into it, maybe you saw them and you were like, yeah, those guys are cool?
Go With Your Palette was a huge one that influenced our real estate investing a lot. But no,
They were really inspired by the redneck and the gay Mexican.
learn how to get the handlebar mustache.
Dude, that's like the first time you called me a redneck.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, we're the ones in Texas. I don't know if y'all have seen real rednecks.
Hey, we're all about we grew up. We know a lot of good ones. That's
oh man.
Oh yeah, that was a thing too. Nowadays, back in the day it was party in the vineyards, man. Get a keg out there.
I was just talking to my brother about this because you guys grew up in Flower Mound and in Texas. There's a lot of country out there still, but my kids are now going out to vineyards and throwing parties, right? Some of the older ones, which was a thing we did. The problem is they're doing it on some of our properties, and so I'm partners on some properties with my family and my brother or whatever. And so he calls me up and he's like, "So this happened over there?" I was like, I didn't even hear about that. He's like, "We did way worse, but how can we stop this?" It's we're gonna stop it. So we put up cameras and shit.
How do we stop
these kids? Give them a designated space.
Yeah. Well, now the problem is you guys probably see a bit of this too in your own real estate, right? The liability, right? You gotta have insurance, whatever else, but I don't know if you have a tenant or you have somebody that's renting the property for vacation rental, and they get hurt. Then if it's something that was maybe a fault in the house or something, even if they're on the roof and they're like, well, the roof was too slippery. In California, you could lose the damn home. I think Texas is a little stronger than that. You guys are actually more logical. But in if somebody was in my ceiling, a cat burglar, and they fell through the ceiling and broke their leg, they can sue me.
Wait, if they
Yeah, they're like, we were
if they
just
were
trying to get in your house. Like, we just wanted to steal a couple things.
That's yeah. We weren't going to steal more than $950, but yeah.
well, I might need Art's help on this, or maybe you guys know, but I think it's called frogging, where people will like live in your walls and
What?
stuff. Dude, this is a real thing.
I've heard squatting.
Well, there's squatting, where someone so like that's squatting, right? They're gone. They kind of move in. They get some mail delivered to their house, and they're in California, so they're gonna, that's a whole nother situation. Yeah. But the frogging thing is interesting because that's someone like living in your house. And again, I might be saying the wrong word, so hopefully it is called that. Cool, I got the okay. It's someone actually living in your house without your knowledge, and they're just living there like an attic. Some houses have like closed off areas that you don't know about, like say in the basement. But like I know one story where this guy was noticing some things and like not in order in his kitchen and his living room, and there was just stuff being moved, couldn't find some things, and he put like a hidden camera up in his kitchen. And so he goes to sleep, and it's like this night vision thing. I think you could still like look it up. And then you just like from the ceiling, I think a panel that he didn't even know existed, it just opens up, and this lady just like creeps out, like barefoot on the countertop, like gets down, starts making some food, like just having some snacks, back to the snacks. You know, she was hungry, just like chilling, and then just like goes back up. And anyways, like that's
the first time I've heard about this.
Yeah,
okay,
frogging. Yeah, so it's good to check your walls. You know,
well, in Texas they got the castle law, right? So if somebody's like,
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, what's the
castle law?
Yeah.
That you can pretty much shoot somebody that's not allowed on your property. You don't need, like, here in California, we need like your life. You need to have somebody literally pointing a gun at you before you can shoot back at them.
You just need their consent to shoot.
Come on, please, just once.
Yeah, I mean, Art, you want to look up the castle law?
Yeah,
yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, it's actually a very strong law that separates Texas from most other states. There's a handful of states that have it, but I mean, like in Florida, I think there's
it exists in California, Joe.
That's bullshit. Then lawyers fucked it up really good.
I mean, I want to find that.
There's also the purple fence post.
We're learning a lot of the purple.
The purple fence post. I think that's in Florida though, which basically says private property, and you may be shot if you pass this purple fence.
You know a lot of laws about when they're good to shoot somebody.
I like to know.
Whoa,
what
dude.
state, you know?
I told you.
You know, when I'm doing my frogging all across the United States, I want to know where I might get shot.
No need for hotels when you can frog.
Yeah. All right. If you could collaborate with any celebrity or public figure on a real estate project, who would it be and why? Should we eliminate Trump from this?
You should keep it open for everybody.
Keep it open for everybody. How Californian of you.
Collaborate with any, what was it?
Celebrity or public figure on a real estate project.
I'd say Joe Wagner.
Whoa, dude. Damn, he's closing left and right.
I know, he's selling our wine. He's cutting deals with us.
That's a tough one. I'm not going to use the same answer, so if we can't use Trump, I'd take that out.
No, you can use Trump. You can use Trump.
I'd probably pick Trump. That'd be cool to go knock a door with Trump.
Oh my God, that would be awesome.
You're in foreclosure. There's no time.
Wait, do you guys?
You gotta have now.
You got a good one? Like, because I feel like people now like just have their Trump.
Yeah.
They got like that in their pocket, like you do a Trump.
Me do a Trump?
I said you do one.
Oh, I do a Trump. Yeah. But I would like to see him go, like, knocking with. I mean, could you imagine? He might be like the GOAT. I mean, include because I don't think he accepts no as an answer.
He'd be like, "Nope, you're gay."
Well, that's funny because to me, no sounds like yes. Yes.
You need to sell. They're eating the cats. You need to get out of here. Not all the cats, but most cats.
What is the weirdest or most unexpected thing you found on a property walkthrough?
Oh,
Jeez,
yeah.
We've had some wild ones. I mean, we've been in hoarder houses that are you can't even like step into basically. But I mean, we've seen some that have upwards of 20 plus cats, like bathrooms full of empty cat food. I mean, I've seen people that have a family. This is kind of sad, but had like families and houses, and there's just like animal feces on the floor. Like it's wild.
Jeez.
Yeah, like the worst conditions you could possibly imagine.
Fleas. I've gotten bit by fleas at a few properties.
Ben got bit by dogs.
I got bit by 3. They had dog shit laying on the floor, and then the dogs. I opened the door and they ran out and bit me. I literally thought I was gonna get rabies. I ran to the store or CVS and started putting stuff on my legs. That story was wild. We were showing buyers through a house, and the dogs ran out and bit me. So then our buyer didn't want to walk through, and then the lady that was living there was in terrible health, and her husband started to walk her out to get her. They'd had to go get a valid ID. The moment he was walking her out, she was like COPD, like over, like super out of shape, and he tried to get her off the wheelchair, and then she fell out. And then me and my partner were like, "Oh my goodness, this lady's gonna die on her front steps." And so then the ambulance came. They had to pick her up. The dogs just bit me. It was a mess.
Jeez.
Whoa.
So
Yeah, I've
okay,
seen
so
that.
I mean, is that like kind of you're dealing with that lowest level of kind of real estate that needs to be, invested upon or torn down and whatever else. But you're also dealing with some higher, like nicer stuff too.
Yeah, not everything's in the hood or people dying and cat food. But yeah, we've done houses that are way better.
Yeah, good.
There's some that, I mean, the ones that we hold as rental properties, like the one we just bought, at a 2.75% interest rate, nice house in North Dallas, probably worth $400,000.
You get to assume a 2.7. Wow.
Yeah. She was behind like 30 grand on her mortgage. We caught it up, furnished the house. We run it as an Airbnb.
So at 30 grand, what is that, like 8% of the value of the house? So at what percentage point do you say that catching up on a mortgage is too much?
Usually it's just the return doesn't make sense. I mean, for her, it's like her payment's $1,900. If we put it on Airbnb, it brings in like $4,000 a month to $5,000. So it's like there's enough of a cash flow or a margin that we brought in a partner that funded it. We split the cash flow, the equity. Usually it's if it's like 20% of it, and it's not really going to cash flow if we rent it out, or there's too much in repairs.
Yeah. That's awesome. And how many rentals do you guys have now?
13, I think.
No way.
Whoa.
And a lot of those are partnerships with other people you work with?
I'd say half. Probably.
Nice.
You get 13 rental properties.
Damn.
And do you guys have like have you guys thought about having a kind of a rental property management arm, or are you guys hiring a management company, or do you guys do that in house?
We have a fourplex that we have property managers on, and then some of the Airbnbs we have property managers, but a lot of the straight up rentals we just do ourselves.
Okay, so like
it doesn't
long-term
really-
annual leases.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's awesome. You got that.
I guess the question though was the worst thing we've seen. That is a lot of that. I saw a wolf yesterday too. This lady had a pet wolf. We don't have to go into that, but yeah.
Wait, whoa.
Yeah.
I'm here, and if I hear wolf, we're gonna get a little bit into it, dude.
We walked up to a house in foreclosure. The whole thing recorded. I almost closed a deal on her car on the backyard, but she's like mentioned her wolf in her backyard. I said, "Wolf, like, is he friendly?" He's like, "No, like he'll bite." And it looked like a wolf, like maybe a husky that hadn't been shaved in 5 years. She had it's a 2-acre property in South Fort Worth, and she just has had a wolf for 8 years that she made a pet.
I have this theory.
It might be real.
Well, I have this theory that it was Game of Thrones that really started the trend of people getting wolves. Because I remember I was like in LA.
Now that they brought the dire wolf back,
dude, like you go into a Starbucks, dude, and someone has like a dire wolf there, and they're just sitting there drinking their cappuccino, just like, hello,
yeah,
you want to pet my dog and get bit, like, and you already got bit by a dog. Can I ask, what was the dog that bit you?
little like
it was like a little
Shih
one
Tzu or something.
But they could still have rabies. You're right. So
Yeah.
that's like that's crazy. I get motivated, I guess inspired that you could walk into a situation, possibly have a gun pulled on you, get bit by a possible rabid dog, like there's wolves, like, and you're still going in there closing, dude. This is not an easy job, dude.
And so through the mentorship, I mean, can you turn this into somewhat of a pyramid kind of thing? Not, I don't mean. But I mean, hold on. I phrased that wrong. I phrased it wrong. Okay.
Okay.
But
tier system.
can you manage can it be tiered? Can you manage a team that is doing things like, so you guys are more visionary and forward looking and where to expand, but have a team, as you move out of Texas in a bigger way, as an example, if you did that.
Yeah.
So say you want to take over the whole Southeast, and there's no way for you two to do that with just your bandwidth. Is there a future in kind of like, being the mentor, but also being the guiding light for a larger organization?
Yeah. I mean, you can go, we do a lot. I mean, it's kind of a hard balance. Like, do you want to have the strong team of people that we just know we can work with, or do we want to scale like crazy and manage all this more stuff? I think for us, it's more like have the team that we know works well in our market, and then we help all these other people get into it, and we naturally just close a lot of their deals. So we hire people on, I guess, as we need it, but it's a low barrier to entry in a way, but it's difficult and most people quit, right? So it's like if someone anyone can be a real estate investor. It's just, do they want to create the system and run their own business, or do they want to work on with us? So I mean, I think it can be scaled. We just don't necessarily bring someone on.
I think that's a great answer, because I think that you guys are able to maintain your team, your culture, without expanding too much and then losing sight of what got you into it in the first place. Well, Alex and Ben, I want to say thank you very much for taking the time. Did you have rapid fire?
Yeah, it's right here. I was gonna have you choose this
Go
guy,
ahead.
dude. He's trying to get out of it.
Did I
Actually,
skip
before
forward?
that, I had this right here. Mock closing training with you,
Oh
Joe.
my God.
Yeah, we're just gonna role play a little role play here. These guys do it. They're the pros. You do some improv work, so you could be whoever you want to be.
Okay.
And you guys, if you have like an everyday scenario that you could come across or whatever, but maybe we could have just a little back and forth for fun.
Okay, let's give it a shot.
The knock on the door. I'm gonna do this. Okay, and then you just give your introduction.
You must be the king of the castle.
Yeah, that'd be me.
Perfect. We actually just stopped by some of the other homeowners. It looked like we got some emails from the county about some issues with the bank on this property. Are you guys aware of the upcoming auction, or has anyone walked you through the options to get that stopped?
No, I have not. I assume I'm aware of this, but no, I haven't gone through the process of getting this stopped.
Perfect. Sign here.
Closed. It was close. Thank you.
Wait, hold on.
Guys.
I got some follow-ups. So what are you offering me? Why should I even consider this?
Yeah, like, who are you? Like, what do we do? We live close by. We help a lot of people with probate, divorce, pre-foreclosure, real estate consultants. So part of it is just understanding your options to, stay in the property, if that's, what you can get qualified for. Sometimes people just need to get out from under it and get it sold quick. But I guess which one is your goal? What have you guys done so far?
I got a great interest rate on this house, so I want to, keep it going and maybe figure I'd probably come up with some money in the next couple months. I'm just starting my heroin trade, so I'm connected to the cartel, and figure I could probably muster something up. But like, I don't know that I need your help. I mean, what's the big benefit to me to move out of this place if I got money coming?
Yeah, I mean, if you got the business rolling with the heroin, I would definitely stick with that. But if are you confident you're going to get the $30,000 in the next 30 days?
I mean, I'm pretty confident. Yeah. I'm confident enough to do it. But I mean, as a backup offering, just in case something happens to this load, what's the process that you would be offering me?
Yeah. I mean, if the goal is if you have income, and we can see if you can get qualified to stay in the house, but are you just looking to if you can't come up with that money, are you willing to let it go to foreclosure, or would you rather get some money out of it and get help relocating?
I mean, given the options, I obviously would rather relocate, and not be foreclosed upon. I mean, an auction doesn't sound like a good end.
No, it's about a 7 to 10 year nightmare on the credit. It's going to be hard to get another place. So we basically just look at what you owe on the house, figure out what the condition is, see what we can do to get you a cash offer or take over the payments you have. But how much do you have left on your mortgage?
Maybe 30,000. I don't know.
I'd say you're in good shape.
Cállate, puto. All right, I got 500 grand.
Okay, perfect. I would be looking at what the value of the house is, but I would just basically say, you're about 30 days away from the auction. It takes generally a couple weeks to a month to actually close on a house. So, if you're not confident you're going to get that money, we'd have to get a process started and make sure we can even do it on time.
Well, how long do you think your process is going to take?
It depends on if are you the only one on title? Is there any other liens on the house?
No.
You didn't put solar on your property?
No, I was stupid. I'd be making money right now if I did.
Perfect.
He's on heroin.
Yeah.
He's not doing much.
It's pretty easy. I can figure it out pretty quick if you have a recent mortgage statement. I can actually just show you. Do you have one of those laying around in your house?
Yeah, the one with the past due notice.
Yep. Yeah, perfect. I'll grab that notice. I'll sit down and kind of walk you through these options. If you have a piece of paper, do you want my shoes on or off?
Get in the house. Yeah, you want a beer?
Just a little bit of heroin. I don't need the beer.
All right. Well, how was that? Was that better for you, Chris? You're trying to put me in an uncomfortable scenario?
I got at the end, I got kind of worried for Ben because he said, should I take my shoes on or off? You're like, you want a beer? You want some? Come here. He's going to start getting him into the heroin trade. That's good. No, that was good. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was good because it gives us an idea. And I'm sure, after hearing everything that you guys have been through, there's probably been a situation like this.
Well,
this probably wasn't
nothing.
so abnormal for you,
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
I've walked into a few houses where there's open hard drugs being done.
Oh, there you
yeah.
Like being actively done while you're in there.
Yeah, like pit bulls being headlocked to not by you and actual drugs on the house. I try to
Jesus.
get out of those pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just
Just
hope,
make it sound crazier than it usually is. I mean, most of the time
it's usually
not that.
pretty
I don't think
tame.
I've
We're just
ever run
telling you
into that,
different
but
Yeah.
I have been given pre-rolls of marijuana when I was selling, though. In Colorado, people just would try to give us their weed.
As a thank you.
Just it's
Like
an
a guy, I
assumption.
sold a guy that would ran a weed farm, and he's like, "Do you want these?" I'm like, "I don't, but someone on my team might."
So, yeah.
I was like, "Dude, I just put a whole camera system on your thing, and now you're handing me a bag of marijuana." I was like, "You probably wait till not put this on the camera."
You're like, who's the seller here? Who's the closer here?
Yeah.
What's happening?
Guy's
it's
advertising.
bartering.
His own way.
It's
Okay. Favorite real estate market to invest in right now?
DFW.
Texas.
Texas in general. Yeah. You guys still have people moving in there. Most overused buzzword in real estate.
Cash flow.
Yeah, cash flow or interest rate.
Okay, real estate trend that. God, you wrote this, dude? I didn't write this. Okay. Real estate trend that secretly gives you the ick.
dude, I'm trying to connect with the Gen Zers here.
They probably wouldn't even make any sense of this. I'd say there's something called earnest money lending that a lot of people are doing that's just not effective.
I don't even know. A trend? I don't know. Buying houses on market.
That's solid.
Yeah,
That's great.
That's trending. I like it.
You just make it sound so easy. Thanks. Like, what kind of idiot? All right, last question. If your brand had a theme song, what would it be and why?
Alex and I were in a talent show one time juggling a soccer ball to this song, and I think our dad somehow put into our head that was my favorite song growing up. I haven't even thought about this song until just now because someone brought it up like last week. I think it was my mom. It's what is it called? Tom Thumping. I get knocked down, I get back up again.
I get knocked down.
Chumbawamba?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Get up
Chumbawamba.
again.
I get knocked down. I
probably haven't heard that song in 10 years, but we.
That was a 90s song. Your dad would
Okay.
be going straight to the 80s.
You know what's funny is that these songs that like came up, because I remember when Chumbawamba dropped that song, and it was kind of like they were playing it in like a lot of like movies and stuff. You were kind of like, oh my gosh, like get knocked down, and then it like it had like a resurgence or something. I feel like it like came back and like was like showing up again in like films and stuff like that.
And on social media.
Yeah, and social media, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's good to see some of these older classics.
Yeah, like that one where like
still keeping
you
it
wait for the
going.
punchline where it's like somebody wants to
Smash Mouth. Yeah.
I'll go with Freebird. Leonard Skinner is one of my favorite bands. So I'll go
Yeah.
Oh, dude, hell yeah.
That's
It's-
good music.
yeah.
All right, well, hey, I want to say thank you guys very much. Again, we had Ben and Alex Jensen from REI Closers. The YouTube channel is REI Closers, and REI Closers on Instagram. And TikTok?
A lot of it's actually posted on my Instagram, benjensen.rei. But we
Okay.
also put a lot of it on the REI Closers page.
So bringing some fun and knowledge to the real estate world, bringing a new generation into it. We appreciate what you guys are doing. Thanks for spending the time and explaining more in depth what you guys do, because I think that it is an opportunity out there. You guys are helping people, and I think you're progressing the real estate industry. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for coming out and telling the story, and hopefully it motivates some other people to get involved.
Yeah. Thank you guys. It was a good time.
Yeah, thank you
Appreciate
for
it.
having us.
Thanks for having us.